Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another ranting Reverend or Reverend of Rant thing. So, over the past couple of days, I've been talking with some friends of mine about the things we've lived through, the things we've done, the things that we had to survive that makes us stronger. And it got me thinking, what are some of the things that, I myself have lived through that make me stronger? Maybe these things, maybe if I tell my story, it'll help someone. So, sorry, I'm getting hair all over the place. Anyway, so what's the best way to become stronger? For example, okay, how does one build muscle? You work out. Now, working out doesn't just build muscle. It doesn't work like that. The way you build muscle is you damage the muscle and it repairs itself and gets stronger bit by bit. It's like doing a wax dip. If anyone's done a wax dip where you take an object, say, just for the sake of argument, a hand, you dip it in wax, you pull it out, you have a thin coating. Now, that's fine if you want a thin coating, but if you want something like a candle, you got to get this thicker. So you let it cool, you dip it again, you pull it out, you let it cool, rinse and repeat until it builds up to the desired thickness. It becomes stronger. Last time I did one of those, it was one of these, and the wick went up the middle finger. It was pretty damn cool. I still have it somewhere. I cast it in beeswax. I didn't expect to burn it. So, if you live through something that is thoroughly tragic, if this thing is thoroughly demeaning, if this is something that makes you consider eating a bullet and you survive, congratulations, you're already a stronger person. Case in point, during the winter of 2004 to 2005, while I was still living in Fallon, I had just got through my divorce, which that's a different story for a different day if I even decide to tell it. That right there, yeah, I could, if I wanted to, I could come away with PTSD from that shit, but I didn't. However, I just come out of my divorce. I lost the house. I moved in with some friends, and it turns out that moving in with these friends was not a great idea in its own right. I'm not going to go into specific details, but it ended up with me packing up my shit and living in a tent on the fairgrounds in Fallon, just off the south end. Now, if anyone's been Fallon, you know it's a small town, so this was not an issue for me. I had my truck, I had my tent, I had maybe 10 or so notebooks, and I had a little PDA, which, that was fucking useless. Had a few entertaining games on it, though. But anyway, I also had 2 full-time jobs. So I wasn't, in my tent all day, every day. After a while, a couple weeks goes by, nothing's changing. I call up my roommates. I ask, can I move back in? They say no. At this point, yeah, okay, I chose to move out initially. I chose to go camping. But when I asked to come back and they said no, they have effectively stolen that choice from me. They forced me further into the choice that I already made. Do I hold it against them? Not at all. Am I still bitter about the situation? Nah. But during this time, like I said, it was winter. This particular winter was one of the harshest we ever had in Fallon. But, I was working, as much as I could. I was saving up money. And I was, I took care of myself. I ate healthy. I bathed every day because there was a shower building on the fairgrounds. It was meant for the rodeo people and all that, but I asked if I could use it. They said, okay, here's a key. So I did that. I did my laundry as often as I could. I didn't let myself sink into being a bum. Not once did I, call on my parents. Not once did I call on my ex-wife. If I would have called on my parents, they would have said, hey, yeah, sure, come live with us. No, I don't want to. I didn't want to because they had already sold their house and they were living in an RV, and they were just about getting ready to, they were getting ready to split. They were going to go do the work camper program, which is you move around a certain region, and you go from campground to campground, and you essentially are a mobile caretaker, that sort of thing. I didn't want to do that, simply because I didn't want to be a burden on them. So I survived. I became self-sufficient. What kept me sane, throughout the nights was, writing. And after a while, I think it was my second month. Yeah, the beginning of the third month. I called up my ex-roommates and said, hey, come on, guys. I'm really hurting out here. Can I come back? Well, the friend that I called said, we don't live there anymore. We've abandoned the place. I said, did you give notice? No. Well, I've been continuing to pay pay my portion of your rent. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. So I'm considering my options at this point. Right now, I'm about to give up. And, I go to work. Because that's what I was doing. That's what I did. That's how I stayed sane. That and, like I said, writing. The next day, I found out that the bowling alley, one of my 2 full-time jobs, doesn't want to keep people in their employ who are homeless. Okay. So, whatever. I get fired from that one because of situation that I couldn't control. And so I go to Safeway and I'm picking up some food that'll keep me going for the next week. And I run into the landlord. And I'm not going to approach the landlord. I don't, I didn't want to bother him on his day off. But he approached me and he said, hey, I've been looking for you. Your roommates, they abandoned the property. But we don't want to, we don't want to go through the pain in the ass of fixing the place up. And, because that would be very expensive. Would you like to move back in? Without hesitating, I said, hell yes. And I moved in. I paid for all my shit. I hopped in my truck. I went back to my tent. I packed up my tent, sleeping bag and all that, and finally went back home. The place was a fucking mess. They, fuck you. You know, like rock stars in a hotel room, they trash the place. But they left everything behind. Everything but their clothes and the food in the fridge. So, you know, whatever. I started cleaning the place up. And I took a few days off from my job to really, you know, dig in and clean the place out. And it wasn't as bad as I had initially thought. But, yeah, c'est la vie. But what did I learn from this? What was my transformation from this? It was, I don't need people to be self-sufficient. See, that's why I got married at 19. That's why I made the choices that I made up to that point in my life. I made them because I was weak. And I realized I'm not as weak as I thought. I can be self-sufficient. I can do what I need to do to survive. And that's what I did, you know. I continued living. There were moments out in that tent in the middle of the night where I was seriously considering eating a bullet. And I had the means. I had to defend myself out there because, yes, some homeless people will, you know, try to kick your shit in for what you have. So I defended myself. I never got violent with anyone unnecessarily. I waved a knife at one, and they kind of kept a wide berth, but, you know, whatever. You know, a couple months after I moved back, one of my ex-roommates just let himself into my place. I looked at him and I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" He said, "I live here." I said, "No, you fucking don't. Get out." And I pointed my gun at him. And he said, "Fine, I'm calling the cops." And he went outside and he called the cops. Cops show up and they haul him away. Why? Drug paraphernalia and the fact that he was highly intoxicated. Methamphetamine, hell of a drug. So I filed restraining orders on all of my ex-roommates and made sure that they never bothered me again. After a while, I moved out of that place and into another place, started working 2 full-time jobs again, and then decided, you know what, Fallon's not gonna do it for me. And I moved to Carson City. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, you can take any situation. You know, if it's an abusive relationship, you can learn from it. Yeah, okay, it sucks. It's tragic that you have to live through that. But it can make you a stronger person. Homelessness teaches self-reliance. You know, abusive relationships teach defense. Things like that. So, no matter what, don't give up. I guess that's the meat of my concept here is do not give up. Because once you give up, they win. Once you give up, you have let the bastards get you down. And once you give up, you stop learning and you stop improving. that's when you stagnate. That's when all the bad shit just rushes back into your life. So don't let that happen. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the long video. In fact, no, I'm not sorry about the long video. You're gonna get longer videos from me because I for one, I ramble, and two, I think I have something to tell the world that may not be told elsewhere. And I know sure as fuck that what I have to say cannot be condensed into a 3-minute video. I mean, okay, yeah, sure. But if I were to condense this down into 3 minutes, it's, hi, I was homeless. Here's what I learned from it. Bye. Fuck you. No, I'm not going to condense what I have to say. So, thank you for watching, and subscribe, comment, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't really care either way. But, whatever. Thanks. Bye.